Hi, my name is Darlene Bennett, and I'm here to tell you about an amazing film called The Silent Killer, which is a film about prostate cancer awareness, primarily in the Black community. And it features my husband, Darnell Bennett, as a scared man who's very afraid of getting a standard prostate exam. And this film is going to journey you through his ups and his downs, some of his homophobic generalities and impressions that he makes about doctors, maleness, masculinity, and the importance of getting checked. Because we want our Black kings, our brown kings, all kings to live to tell the story. This is a film that's going to impress the importance of not just living for yourself, but modeling the example for your sons and your grandsons and your neighbor and your barber. So join us in viewing and observing this film. Tell your friends, tell your neighbors, tell your coworkers about The Silent Killer, coming soon to a screening near you.
Yo, what's up, Jimmy? Yo, man. This now. What's up, bro? Listen. Hey, listen, I'm still on for my appointment, but check this out. I gotta go to the doctor's. As soon as I leave the doctor's, I'll be right up to the shop, okay? Yeah, I think my appointment's at 4 o'clock, Jimmy. Yeah. I won't be at the doctor's long. I just gotta go visit, regular routine checkup. Just gotta go visit my doctor. All right, boy. You need anything? All right, I'll see you then. Later. Hey, babe, I'm ready to roll out.
Hey, baby.
I'm ready to go to the doctor's. I got a doctor's appointment today.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Yeah. All right, son. I'll talk to you later.
All right, where you going?
I'm going to the doctor's. What's up?
Oh, I actually heard we had some doctors coming to my school. I'll let you know about it when I see you later.
For what? What you got doctors coming to the school for?
It's something about awareness or something like that, but I'll let you know what the presentation is like when I see you.
All right, I'll holler at you when I get back home. All right, boy. Be easy. I love you, son.
I love you too.
All right, baby.
All right, baby.
All right.
Love you.
Love you too.
Hi. Hi, how you doing?
Hi, good morning. Who are you here to see?
Dr. Reese,
Sure. And your name, please?
Darnell Bennett.
Okay, thank you. One moment. Okay, thank you. You can go have a seat.
Okay.
Someone will be with you shortly.
All right, thank you so much.
You're welcome. Have a good day.
Darnell?
Yes.
Hi, Darnell.
Hi, how you doing?
Good, how are you?
I'm doing good. Yes, come in.
All right. Well, Mr. Bennett,
Hey, Doc, how you doing?
how you doing? Dr. Reese,
How you
one of
doing,
the
Dr. Reese?
urologists here at Temple. So, I understand you're coming in today to get your prostate checked. Is that correct?
Yes, Doc. Yeah.
Okay. No, I think that's an important thing to do because you're getting to that age where prostate cancer can be very common. So it's an important thing for us to check for. So to check for cancer, what I need to do is a rectal exam. Are you familiar with that?
What?
Yeah, so it's an exam where I have to put my finger in your bottom.
Oh, no. You going to do what?
Yeah, it's the exam that we have to do to check for cancer.
Nah, Doc, I ain't with that.
Okay, well, I think it's important to do.
Yo, yeah. Yo, Lean.
Hey, I'm right here, babe.
Hold on. Yo, let me call you right back. What's up, babe?
Hey, baby.
How you doing?
I'm good. What's going on?
Listen, I was at the doctor's today for my physical.
I remember.
And, you know, he said, listen, have you ever been checked out for prostate? And I was like, nah, I ain't never been checked out for prostate. So he said, well, I feel like you at the age that you should be checked out for prostate. So I'm like, okay, and he said, we want to check you out. He said, I want to check you out right now. So I'm like, all right. I ain't thinking nothing of it. So long story short, he goes and put a glove on.
Right?
He put some KY jelly and he said, you have to drop your underwear. I said, drop my underwears for what?
Yeah.
He said, to check your prostate. I said, man, I'm not feeling that.
Babe, can I say something to you?
Lean.
That is what a prostate
I'm not
exam
feeling that.
is. You might not be feeling it.
Lean, I don't care what you say. Then he had the nerve just standing there. He said, Mr. Bennett, we have to check it. This is how we checked it. I said, yo, man, I'm not letting you do that.
Babe, that's
no.
what they do.
I ain't trying to
Babe,
hear that.
Do you know how many times I had to have the doctor
What?
down there
What?
when I was having our children, slide down some more, slide down some more.
I was cool.
Slide down some more.
I was cool until he put them
Open.
gloves on.
Would you rather him do it raw dog with his hands?
Listen, I don't care which way. Listen, I'm not feeling it.
That's
I never had a
how the
prostate
exam
check.
goes.
Listen,
do you know what the
I'm
rate?
I'm going to look for a lawyer tomorrow because he on some gay vibes, and I'm not doing that.
Nothing. Do you know more black men die of
Nah.
prostate cancer because they don't want to
Lean,
get?
Listen. I'm telling you, Lean. I'm telling you right now, I'm not feeling that. When he put that glove on that KY jelly, yo, I feel like he violated me.
I'm not even feeling your tone
He's
right
gay.
now.
I don't care what you say.
I'm not feeling
Then
your
he gonna
tone
tell
right
me.
now.
Then he gonna tell me drop my underwears.
Yes, babe.
For
That's how
what?
the examination is done.
For what? You listen.
Babe,
I don't care what you say.
You need to pipe down, and you need to care what I say because
what?
You 57,
What?
right?
I'm 57 years
you
old.
want to
And
live
what?
to be 75?
I'm good.
Do you want to live to be 75, or do you
Yeah, I
want
want
to
to be
make me a
living to
widow?
be 75, but you talking
You
about
just want to
somebody.
make me a widow because you worried about one little finger in your butt?
Dig this. His hands were
fingers?
so big. I said, nah, bro, we ain't doing all that. We ain't doing that.
Darnell,
Then he gonna talk
the
about
man
drop
is
my
not
underwear.
trying to ask you out.
Fuck me.
Well, he's supposed to do it through your underwear?
I don't care, but he ain't doing it on this. But
You know
listen,
how many buttholes
listen,
he probably sees in a day?
Listen.
Babe, this
listen,
is to save your life.
Listen.
5 minutes.
Look,
5 minutes.
Lean, I ain't trying to hear that. Lean, I ain't trying to hear that.
I am
Yo,
still
hold on a second.
talking
Yo,
to
I don't care.
you.
I don't care. Yo,
I am still
listen,
talking to
I don't
you.
care. Yo, hold on a second, Jimmy. Hold on a second. Hold on.
I am still
Listen.
talking to you.
I'm not feeling this doctor. Talk about he won't pull my underwear.
You like breathing?
What?
Do you like breathing?
Listen, Jimmy, I'm still coming up to get my hair cut. Listen, this conversation is over with. I don't want to know nothing about prostate. Ain't no man sticking his finger up my behind, and I ain't dropping no underwears for no man.
Okay,
Listen,
yeah, you know what?
Jimmy, I'm on my way.
You need to walk that off.
All right, Jimmy.
You need to walk that off.
Yep. Oh, yeah, okay.
You need to walk
yeah,
that
all right.
off.
I tell you
Because
what.
we're going to the doctor.
We ain't going to no doctor.
Oh.
Who going to who doctor?
We're going to the doctor.
We ain't going to shoot. You lost your mind.
We're going to the doctor.
What's wrong with you, man?
Man, I came from the doctor today, man.
Yeah, I kind of overheard your conversation with your wife. Like, you was arguing. Like, what's going on?
Man, I went to the doctors, to get checked out for my prostate, man. Man, talking about he gonna put his finger over my behind, man. Hey, man. I told my wife I'm not feeling that.
Yeah?
Yeah, I ain't feeling that.
Just he stick his hand up.
Stick his hand up there.
That's it.
That's what he was gonna do to you?
Bro, you tell you, that's what he was gonna do, man. He was gonna put a glove on. Jimmy, talk about, yo, bro, he was talking about put a glove on with some KY jelly.
That's the process. You don't do it with machines? That's the process?
Listen, if they got a machine, guess what? I'm gonna do the machine instead of him putting his finger up my rectum.
Is that what he said?
That's what he said.
How did he say it?
He said, Mr. Bennett, I said, yes. He said, well, you know, I'm Dr. Such and Such, and, you know, do you know about the prostate? I said, nah. I said, I'm in here because I need to get checked out. He said, well, do you know the exam? I said, nah, I don't know the exam. He said, well, we can go up the rectum or we can do the blood. You know, he said, but we need to go up the rectum, the behind. I said, you ain't going to my behind. Right. He said, well, that's what we got to do. So then,
You don't like that kind of stuff?
no, bro. Nope, bro. I don't like that.
That's what men say. I thought that's what they do, don't they?
What's that? They do what?
They got to check.
Young fella, let me educate you, man. First of all, there's options. You know, they have something called PSA. You know, which is prostate specific antigens. When they take your blood sample, look at your blood sample. So they ain't always got to stick up in your butt, man. Second of all, dude, you're talking about life or death, man. You're talking about life or death. You married, right?
Yeah.
So you know that thing you said, happily ever after?
Yeah?
There is no happily ever after. You get prostate cancer.
Let me ask you a question. Why do you know about it?
Because I had it, bro. I'm a survivor, man. If it wasn't for my wife, I probably wouldn't be sitting here. Because did you know 1 out of 44 Caucasian males get prostate cancer? For African American males, it's 1 out of 26. 4 out of 100 African American males will die from prostate cancer.
So your wife took you to the doctors, or you?
Nah, I wasn't feeling well. My wife is like WebMD, man. She started googling all kinds of stuff. She was like, yo, and I'm like you. I'm like, man, because when I first my prostate cancer when I was 40, they only did the glove. They do one finger, by the way. They ain't not sticking their whole fist up there. They do one finger. So when I went, she was like, hey, you need to go get this checked out. So I went back, and you know the doctor didn't want to do it. And I was like, hey, doc, it's either you or my wife. So my wife going every time, man, and he did it and found that I had prostate cancer, man. And so what I'm here to tell you is it's taking brothers out. There's a lot of brothers, man, who won't have the legacy because they're going to be dead. And you got to think about it. It's not just about you, man. It's about your wife. It's about your kids. It's about your grandkids, man. It's about your legacy. You know, and it's about you understanding your life, man. Just think about it.
Did it affect your manhood or something like that?
I'm alive, bro. I'm alive for my wife. I got to meet my grandson, man.
Okay.
You know, if that little 5-minute examination, you know, impacts your manhood, man, your issues run deeper than the prostate exam.
You said 5 minutes or 5 seconds?
It's not come on, you got to go in there, man. The doctor will ask you some questions, you know, and depending upon, like I had the PSA. Okay. So when I had to get a biopsy, it's a little intrusive, man. And it's like 2 minutes. They clip, snip, they test it to see, you know, if you have cancer or not. Wow. But you got to think about this. Prostate cancer is one of the unknown cancers, which means they don't know how fast it grows. So you can not get it checked out and go back, you know, a year from now and be at stage 4. And stage 4 just figured there's no coming back from stage 4.
Wow. So you telling me your wife told you to go get it done?
Oh yeah, she demanded, man. She ain't telling me. She was like, yo, bro, you can get this done.
Well, how did it affect you after you went and got it done and found out that you was positive?
Well, she first told me, you know, I was like, you know, I'm a typical bro, man. It was like, yo, they said you could possibly have ED, erectile dysfunction. So I was like, yo, cross this off my list right now. I ain't going.
Right.
I ain't going.
So you went from here to here, bro?
Right, because I was like, yo, but you know what? My wife said something that made a lot of sense to me. She said, you know, first of all, our relationship is stronger than that.
Okay.
Second of all, I would rather have you here, you know, to be a father to our kids, you know, to be my husband, you know, to see your grandkids, you know, to do. I was blessed to be able to officiate my daughter's wedding, you know, so that was more important. Now, you do what they tell you to do, and the ED thing is exaggerated because I'm fine, but it's a rehabilitation process. But it does, it messes with you psychologically. I'm not going to tell you that it does, because that's a lot to go through. But think about the pros and cons, man. The con is you're going to suffer because it's going to start to eat you away from the inside.
Wow.
You know, the pros is you here. You know, you get to see things, man. You get to see another day. Wow. You know, you get to fulfill your purpose, dude.
Wow. That's crazy, man. So what do you think about it, my man?
You know, I ain't gonna lie. I laughed about it, but I went to the doctor and got checked.
And what they do to you?
Same thing. The glove, the finger, the blood work.
And within your rectum?
Yes, sir. And I'm 100% man. But I need to be here. I need to be here for my kids. My kids mean the world to me, so I had to get it done.
Wow.
And I had the colon, a couple tests done. So, you know, I think...
So I'm quite sure you came out negative.
I came out negative, and I'm glad I did. So I think, you know, I'm sitting there laughing, you know, but it is a real conversation that you need to have with your wife. So I think you need to, you know, go back and let her know, like, or take it with you.
There's enough things taking us out as black men without adding to it something that we can control by just getting an examination back. Like, only get it over with, it's done. You're not filming. Anybody gonna see you unless you go tell everybody. Ain't nobody gonna know you had.
I ain't telling. Listen.
You go, yo, guess what I did?
My man, I ain't telling nobody.
Yeah, but see, that's the next issue because you know my older brother had it. You know, I have another brother that has enlarged. We don't share our family history, and they can be passed down. It's hereditary. So us not telling people in our community again is not a cool thing.
So you think that's some of the reasons why we suffering with it because we don't know it?
My dad had it, and the only reason I knew my dad had it was because I was taking him to the doctor. He was older. And I didn't know about my brothers until we started getting to this conversation, and it started coming out because we don't share stuff like that. But it's hereditary. So my son, you know, you need to get checked. You know,
What's the age? What's the age that they check you, bro? What's the age that they check you?
Well, I was 40 when I got mine checked, and then I got a check again when I was 45, and I had a check again when I was 50.
But you can get it. There's record that people as young as 37.
Yes.
You know, have gotten prostate cancer.
Yes.
Especially if it's hereditary, you're more likely to get it. And I'm gonna tell you how crazy it is. I just read something today for black people. You know, if we take in an excessive amount of vitamin D, we're also more susceptible. It affects us differently than it affects Caucasians. I just read that today. So this is the stuff that you got to know, man, and you got to share. You got sons. You want to tell your sons. You know, you want to tell your bros, like, yo, this is how you stay alive.
What do you think about it, Jim?
I'm 50 years old. I gotta go get a check. I don't have a wife that's pushing me to do it.
Wow, that's crazy, man.
Man, you arguing with your wife?
Yeah, I was arguing with him. Remember, he talking about
She care about you? Does she love you?
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't even cut your head till you was on.
Oh, man, come on, Joe. What about you? What about you?
I'm 70 and I never had it done.
Wait a minute. You how old?
I am 70 years old and I've never had it done.
Why you ain't never had it done?
Just never had it done.
Are you gonna go get it done?
Oh yeah. I hear the conversations of other people saying how bad it is. I may have it now. I don't know.
Damn.
I may have it.
70 years old?
I am 70 years old.
And you never got it done?
Never had it done.
Wow.
But that's why you got to make sure. I think sometimes, especially as African American males, we don't control our doctor visits. You know, we go there and whatever they say, we just allow it to happen because we trying to get it over with. Instead of saying, "Look, doc, I need to have this done," or "This runs in my family." You know, whether it's high blood pressure, whether it's prostate cancer, you know, whether it's diabetes, whether it's heart problems, you know, you got to control your doctor visit. You know,
So let me ask you a question, brother. When you went and got yours done, did your doctor ask you, or did you tell him you want to get it done?
No, I asked him. I said, "Yo, doc, my wife told me I need to get this done," and he dismissed it. He was like, "Man, you just had it. You know, you have it. You good for another 5 years." She's like, "You ain't got to take it to another 5 years." And I'm like, "Doc, you don't understand. You know,
So
I'm
you
afraid
had
of my
twice?
wife. I ain't
You had-
afraid of you.
So you
I ain't afraid of you. You won't do this."
So you said you had it twice?
Yeah, you get one your first initial. You know, like my man said at 50, but then you got to. They tell you to wait like another 10 years.
Okay.
You know, and sometimes longer. You know, or 40. I'm sorry, 40. They tell you to wait. But the problem is, they're telling you to wait based on some statistic that they gathered.
Right.
What they don't tell you is, as an African American male, you're more likely to get it. You're more likely for it to be fatal. They don't tell you that.
So what can you say to a young fella?
Yo, get checked out, man. This be a part. Just like when you go first of all, go to doctors. You know, as black men, man, if it ain't falling off, it ain't bleeding, we ain't going to doctor. We think a Band-Aid fix everything. We got some Band-Aid on it, man.
It's true.
Yeah, you got to. You should be getting annual checkups. Every year, you should go get a checkup.
I mean, we don't have these conversations like this in the barbershop. We don't. Like you said, we talk about sports, but to have these brothers talking like this, man, I think you need to have a class one day a week, you know, Mr. Barber, and I think, you know, you can have that once a week on this health assessment, I think it'd be really good, man, because we need to hear this.
Yeah, to hear those statistics, 1 out of
man.
every 26.
And we all under 60.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Perception's the bill. You know what I'm saying? Perception's the bill. You know what I mean?
Everybody in this room knows at least 26 people.
Yeah.
1 out of every 26, man.
Yes.
Wow. So if you know 100 people, you're talking about 4.
Right.
And 4 may not sound like a deep number, but you're talking about death.
Did it scare you?
Compared to, you were saying the white men.
It's different for
It's only 2 out of 100 then.
1 out of 44, yeah.
Right, so it's 2 out of 100,
Yeah.
and we're basically 4 out of 100.
Yeah, it's scary.
Man, Jay, you know that math real good.
Hey, man, that's what collect this money.
My God,
Yeah, but I like how you equate that to years.
Yes.
And you asked me, was I scared? Yeah, you scared, man. You know, I know macho people, because think about it. Growing up in the hood, and we all can relate to this, you think you're invincible.
Yeah.
You do. No matter what everybody say, growing up in the hood, man, you start thinking all the stuff you survived. You think all the friends who didn't make it, and you thinking like, yo, I made it. I'm invincible.
Right.
And then something happens that you can't control.
That's amazing. God can humble your heart, can he?
Man, he would in a heartbeat tell you who was in control, bro. And it don't matter how good, how bad you are. When your time is your time.
Did this make you and your wife stronger?
Oh, of course it did. Well, you know what? One, it made me listen to her a lot more. You know how your wife say stuff and you nod? Like, yeah. Now, okay. There might be some truth to this.
But you know, what's your name again?
Chris.
Chris, you know, that's crazy. When you talk about erectional dysfunction,
man.
Like, bro, I know me, Jimmy.
Right.
He's like, I was crazy.
Yeah.
Dude, I was even messing up. I ain't trying to hear that, bro. I ain't trying to hear that.
Well, let me ask you a question. Man. So you think for however long the moments that you have sex is better than a lifetime? There's no feeling you can have that's going to be greater than playing with your grandkids, rolling over with your wife, man, being able to wake up a year from now, and to not be pain free because it's eating you alive because you didn't get it treated. You know, and check this out. You still won't have ED anyway. You just gonna have pain with it. Because it attacks your prostate, which controls, feeds it to your. So either way, you won't suffer with it. So why suffer in pain when you can get it taken care of? And there's no guarantee because the doctor will give you strict instructions of things to do. Just follow instructions, man.
Wow.
And your wife, I'm sure she'd rather have you alive, bro.
Wow.
That's crazy.
And do one more thing. You ain't 16 no more, Hoss.
Yeah.
How old are you?
When you're 16, you think with the wrong part of your body. But when you get older, you gotta start using the other part of your body. Man.
Yeah, that's real. I appreciate that, Chris. You know that. You know, for me being 57, Jimmy, and you know, it's just like so much information. I'm glad I came in the barber chat. Must have been a reason why my phone, was left on.
Yeah.
They come in here and get some knowledge, and you know, I didn't even know this conversation was gonna happen, bro.
He enlightened me too.
Yeah.
Wow.
Education's a virtue.
Yes,
We have to learn from each other. If we don't talk, we don't learn.
True.
And just like, you know, at the age I am, never had it done. Now it's got to kind of like making me kind of like wonder.
Yeah.
I mean,
And it should. This is a serious conversation, dude. This ain't like the mumps or the measles of this past. This is real.
Hey man, it's time for you to go home, make that right with your wife, man. She's trying to love on you, brother. You arguing with her, man.
I appreciate that, man. I'm gonna go home and apologize
Yeah,
to the
do that, brother, because that's what we do here, brother.
I text you up later on to let you know that I apologize.
Hey man, I gotta
my
make
brother,
me,
man.
I gotta make me an appointment too, brother. Go ahead and get that check. At least you got a wife that's checking for you, brother.
Check it for me.
Yeah.
All right, all right, brother. All right. Lean.
I'm right here, babe.
Hey, what's up?
What's up with you?
Listen, I was at the barbershop today.
I knew you was going there. Remember? You stormed out of here, all air up in your chest, acting crazy tone, snapping at me. I remember. Yeah.
Listen, I apologize, but I was in the barbershop and Jimmy said, yo, man, I heard the whole conversation. I thought my phone was off. And, you know, so I was ready to get in the chair. Jimmy's like, whoa. So I'm like, what's wrong? So then this dude jump up, talking about my name is Chris. I'm looking at him like, man, who are you? He said, listen.
Well, why was you getting up in the chair? I mean, I don't understand what happened. You was getting ready to get in the chair, and then you didn't get in the chair, and then Chris, I don't know what you telling me.
This brother walked up to me and said, hey, bro, can I talk to you for a minute? I'm looking at him like, who this dude talking to? There was a bunch of guys in there. Like, who this dude want to talk to? He said, listen, my name is Chris. I was looking him up and down like, yeah, man. He said, listen, man, I had prostate cancer.
Well, I'm glad maybe somebody can get through to you, because you come in here half apologizing, your hair looking the same. I mean...
Jimmy wouldn't cut me.
Oh, really? Why?
Because he told me to I go home and apologize to you.
I always liked Jimmy.
Mm.
So what you saying? What you saying?
I apologize to you. I think, by me sitting in the barbershop, I was getting a little bit educated about it, but I still wasn't feeling that.
Well, what frightened you the most about, were you frightened? I mean, because you had a whole lot of energy going in the wrong direction with me about this, and I'm trying to understand where all this is coming from.
The unknown.
The unknown of what?
Knowing that somebody will put some gloves on and some KY jelly and
I mean, listen, I'm not trying to downplay this situation, but I mean, it can't be any more humiliating than that thing that we have to do and slide down into them handcuffs at the bottom, stirrups, I call them handcuffs, and slide down some more, and they got to drill up and crank up the speculum, I think they call it, and all of this for our health. And this is 5 minutes with a glove, not his raw finger, but the glove to save your life. Darnell, do you trust me? Do you trust me?
Yeah, I trust you.
Well, then, do you think I would tell you anything wrong? I'm trying to save your life and prevent me from being a widow and prevent you from looking in the mirror saying there's something I could have done, and now our whole lives are impacted sexually, emotionally, mentally, economically. All of these things could be affecting us, and you trying to trade all of that for 5 minutes with a glove? He ain't trying to date you. We just trying to save your life. And listen, I'm glad the brothers were talking in the barbershop. And I'm glad y'all got that whole thing going on with the barbershop vibe. But I just feel like you need an extra nudge. So I called Unc. He's on his way over here. I just feel like he can talk to
You did what?
You heard me. I didn't stutter. Unc is coming over here in a few minutes because I feel like you need something from someone you respect. I don't have the man parts, so I can't.
Wait, stop. You call Unc.
I called Unc with my grown, I'm your wife self. I would die for you, do anything for you. Love your dirty socks.
Wait a minute. Which uncle did you call?
Unc.
Oh my God.
Yes, I
The
called
one
Unc.
that I'm afraid of?
Listen, ain't no need to be afraid. I'm gonna let them
Just like
hit
I'm
you.
afraid of the man putting the rubber gloves on and putting the KY jelly. I'm afraid of this uncle.
He's coming in love and he's coming in peace, and he knows I'll beat him in the bad house if he did anything other than talk to you. He knows that. I'm not having none of that.
Oh my
He
God.
loves you, Darnell.
Why would you call him?
I
or call
know his
people?
approach is rough, but he loves you and he wants to talk to you about some things that I think are really going to help turn the corner with this. Babe, don't you want to live
Yeah,
into
I wanna
your
live.
80s, into your 90s, and us to just forget things together and go on long trips and be that annoying couple on the cruise ships? Don't you want that?
Cruise ship?
Yes.
Yeah, I guess you're right. So I gotta get ready for my aunt to come on over.
I want to
here.
say my old man, my old man.
You want me to be on the joint
I
doing
want
the
you to
leg?
be your, that's what I want. So
Alright.
talk to him.
Oh.
Talk to him.
All right.
Can you do that for
Yeah,
me?
I can talk to him. I apologize once again.
I accept your apology.
Love you.
I love you too. That's what I'm talking about. Hey girl. Yep. I can't wait. What, you about 15 minutes out? Okay. All right. I'll be at the door. I'll be at the door when you get here. All right. Be careful. Love you too.
Where you going?
I am going out with the girls. I need a drink after all of this.
Whoa. Alk is coming and you leaving me here by myself?
Listen, I don't have no prostate in this fight. I have not a dog in this fight other than you. Green tea shots half price. I'm going. And Darnell, you're gonna be fine, babe. He loves you. And if he didn't love you, he would not be sharing this truth with you. I'm just You a man, ain't you? You was man. Look, I'm 100% man. Did you say that? Did you say that earlier?
Yeah,
I'm 100%
but
man.
I don't want to talk to this cat.
He loves you.
All right, whatever, Lean. Let me go ahead.
Your father left. He's here. Your dad is gone. Your father, your uncle is here. He's. Hey, thanks for coming.
Hey.
Thanks for coming. I'm getting ready to get up out of here.
Okay.
Because
What's your problem, young man?
Yo, what's up? What's up? What's up?
No. I don't want to hear all that.
Damn, why you coming
What
at
is all this you hollering and screaming at her?
Oh, why you coming at me like that?
Because your father died from that. You should go get checked. I got it. You know what she's talking about.
Listen.
Sit
Listen.
down. Sit down.
You know I got mad love for you.
Sit down.
Oh, snap. Oh, man, give me that.
I'm gonna tell you this.
What?
The father died from.
What you gonna tell me?
I had it. It's not nothing to joke with, nephew. Nothing, man.
You had it?
Yes.
Why you just telling me you had it?
2019. Yes. Oh my God. It runs in the family. And you got a son. You gonna have to. You gonna have to get it checked out.
So what are you trying to say to me, man?
Man, listen.
I was feared. I was feared that you was coming over, but I didn't know you was going to talk to me about this.
Yes,
Really?
sir.
You had it when?
2019.
I'm supposed to be your favorite nephew. We're supposed to always chop it up.
Well, that was during the pandemic. And I was, going through that too. But you got to get checked, nephew. All that old glove crap, you ain't going to even feel it.
What do you mean I ain't going to feel it?
You got to get it checked out. You got to keep your PSAs down. You got to get your blood work done. And hopefully you ain't got to get no biopsy. So if they do, man, you don't want none of that, dog.
Wait a minute. As cool as you are,
Yeah.
the coolest cat that I know.
Exactly.
Every time I see you, we always talking about sports.
Yeah.
Look what I got on. Kobe.
Yeah.
And you had it?
2019, cuz.
Wow. What did Auntie say?
She stuck with me. She ain't went nowhere.
Auntie? What?
She ain't went nowhere and ain't going nowhere. She the one
listen.
told me, I better get it.
Listen, you the coolest dude on the planet, man. You the
That
coolest
cool don't mean nothing. But guess what?
What?
I'd rather be cool without it than to be cool with it at 6 and green. That's out, bro.
Oh, wait a minute. Wait a minute.
Telling you think it's a joke, man. All that old glove popping under that don't mean nothing, man. Don't mean a thing. You ain't gonna notice nothing. Get your blood work done, boom. Run your PSAs. That's it. Just keep your PSAs low as you
How
are.
are you now, Uncle?
I'm good.
Oh my God! Oh, you mean to
See,
tell
I just
me?
think it right by me.
Wow.
See?
As cool as you are, dude. Look at you. Always got that earpiece and then ain't talking to nobody.
Well,
got that
yeah.
toothpick up in there, and you had it. 2019.
2019. So I advise you to get that chip off your shoulder and go get it done.
How come Dad never told me?
I guess, I don't know. But you up in age.
But
man.
did
57,
Daddy
56,
tell you? I'm 57.
Yeah, he told me.
And what did Dad say to
He
you?
told me, go get yourself checked, bro. And that's what I've been doing ever since.
Man,
I go to the doctor every month.
Every month.
I do.
You mean somebody got to put that glove on?
No. But I just I go to my doctor every month.
Got you.
But I go to my neurologist every 6 months.
So
to still get my PSAs checked to see if it come back.
Oh, I got one question to ask you. I got one more question to ask you. What was the signs?
My PSAs. You don't know those signs. That's the scary part about it.
Did you feel anything?
No. Until they start taking my blood. I was up in age. I was 50, almost 50, I'm 60. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. And that's when they really start checking your PSAs and your blood work every 3 to 6 months. To check and make sure that it's low. If it's high, if it gets high, got to come out, baby.
Check this out. I was afraid of you, man. When wifey said she called your uncle. I said, call my uncle.
Well, you should be.
Yeah, well, I got
You should be.
Because you should smack us around when we was kids, man.
It's for a reason.
I see, man.
I didn't do it just to be doing it to keep my moves up.
Every time I see you got that smooth haircut, that toothpick, them glasses on.
That's the image I had when I was young coming up. So.
Okay. Well, you know.
You got to go to the doctor, man.
You know, okay? I love you, huh?
Love you too.
All right, bro.
All right.
All right, man. I'm gonna do what you told me.
How you feel, man?
Hey, man, I'm doing okay, bro.
Good to see you.
Likewise, man.
I spoke with your Uncle Eric, man. And
you spoke with my uncle?
Yeah. He sent me down here to talk to you, man, about that silent killer, prostate cancer.
What did he say?
Getting tested?
Nah, I'm very, I'm scared. I'm be honest with you, Smitty. I'm scared to death, man.
I went through the process, and you got to do it because it could come up on you like that, and you be done. So you got to start the process as soon as possible. You know, you're in your 50s now, and what I ended up doing was, my doctor said to me on one of my visits, I want you to go get checked. I'm not saying that you have cancer, prostate cancer. Your numbers have increased over the period of time. Go get checked out. So I did. Came back that I had prostate cancer. I was 64 at the time. Wow. And, it was in the very early stages of prostate cancer. So they set me up for a test, and it slips my mind what it is right now, but set me up for the test, and I went for the test, and I don't know what's going to happen. I've never been through this before.
Was you scared?
Not really. Nah, because once they told me that I had cancer, no matter how small or how big it was, I just wanted to get rid of it. So let's do what it is that we need to do to eliminate this cancer. So I talked to a friend of mine, Rich. You know Rich. Rich.
Yeah. I know him. Yeah.
He had his surgery. He's been clean for 10 plus years, and he had his prostate removed. So the more and more I thought about it, this was before I tested positive for cancer, prostate cancer. My thought was, if I ever got it, I want my prostate removed. So fast forward, I went through the process, and they took, I had a biopsy, that's what it is. Had a biopsy. That was scary. I didn't know what was going to happen. So they take pictures. Then they numb you. They take an instrument, stick it in your rectum. Oof. And they take pictures. Then they numb you. And then they do the biopsy. And I didn't get numbed enough. So when they started to take the pictures, it felt like somebody shot electricity up inside of me.
Wow.
So he had to stop and numb me some more. He was able to get 13 snips. One snip was cancerous, and it was very small. So now the process is, and I forget what it's called, but it's a waiting period. And then they bring you back in and do the same thing again. And this time it hurt even more. And but in the process, they got the one biopsy that was cancerous, which was good, and still went through a waiting process, and then monitoring stages, and then they do your blood work, and it got to the point where it was time to make a decision. So sat down with the surgeon, the urologist, and the doctor that does chemo and radiation, and they both.
So basically, Oh man. I know my uncle told me, he had it, and then he bring his best friend in to talk about this. Like, you going through this right now. Like what was the difference between the chemo and the radiation? I'm telling you, Smitty, man, my mind is messed up right now because I'm hearing so many different stories about this.
So, I had a choice between surgery to remove the prostate or chemo or radiation. I talked to both doctors, and because I talked to Richard, he had his prostate removed. That's what I chose to do. But at that time, when we had the discussion with the doctors, it was too soon to do either. You still had to go through this monitoring process. So, because he said if you do the removal now, it could be worse than the cancer itself because you did it too soon. So we waited, and then I already had in my mind I was going to do the surgery to remove the prostate, because the other thing is if you do chemo or radiation, the cancer can come back. Prostate's still there. The chances for me, was explained to me by the urologist who was my surgeon, of the cancer coming back with removing the prostate was extremely small. Let's do that.
Okay.
So we did that, and I talked to my primary physician, who I've been going to for maybe 30 plus years. And I told him my plans. I didn't want to ruin my summer. I was going to wait till September. He said, do what you got to do, because again, it was in the very early stages. So I didn't have to rush to do anything. Some brothers, some men, they have to do it like ASAP because the cancer is so far along. I was blessed not to be in that stage. So I was able to take my time and had the surgery. The surgery was successful. They, I believe it's called lymph nodes. They check those that's around the prostate to make sure that the cancer hasn't spread to the lymph nodes. And that came back negative or positive. It wasn't.
So,
It wasn't.
but I was talking to my uncle, Smitty, I was like, man, I was like, I thank God for this, man, for this talk, man. This is real. I mean, I thank my uncle for reaching out to his best friend to talk about this, because I'm struggling with it, man. I'm just being honest.
It's not, like I said, for me, it wasn't a struggle. My thing was, whatever we need to do to get rid of this cancer, I'm down. And if the surgery is going to eliminate it, as well as it possibly very minimally coming back, that's what I want to do. And like I said, right now, I leak. The erectile dysfunction is there. But my thing is, I don't have cancer. I can deal with the leakage. I wear my pads every day. I have a pad in my back pocket. I got a pad in my car. You know what I'm saying? So if I have an accident, I got to go handle it. My pants might be messed up. I hope I'm not in a place where I can't get out and, go home. But other than that, and I chose this because I believe to stop the leakage after you do your Kegel exercises, that's recommended. And that slows the leakage down because you're building the muscle around where the prostate was. There's procedures that they can do to stop the leakage, but it's a procedure. Personally, I don't want to get cut again. The same with the erectile dysfunction. There's things that they can do, and I believe one of them is the pump, but it's internal. Internal means they got to do a procedure. I don't want to do no procedure. So I'm where I'm at, and I'm comfortable with where I'm at. And the couple times that I saw the surgeon, the last couple times that I saw the surgeon, when he was putting recommendations on the table, did you try this? Did you try this? I don't want to do none of that. He said, well, as long as you're comfortable and you're happy, there's nothing more than I can say. But that's a choice that you have to deal with. Not that's just the way that I went. There's brothers that have the pump, and they live by it, but it's not my choice. And the other thing about the erectile dysfunction, the sexual thing, you have to have, I believe, you have to have an understanding mate. Because prior to, you had a sex life, it was at a 10. And then afterwards, it goes to 0. Can be built back up, but it's not what it used to be. You know what I'm saying? So some brothers' mates can't deal with that, or they can't understand that. So the good thing, my recommendation is, when you do go talk to the doctors about it, to take your mate with you. If it's your wife, your girlfriend, whatever her title is, take her with you so she can hear the same things that you can hear, so that she can be prepared just like you're going to be prepared. You know what I'm saying? So it's not a shock to her that, wow, 6 months ago our sex life was grand and now it's 0, and that could put a strain on the relationship. So take your mate with you when you go to sit down and talk to the urologist, the chemo radiation doctor. I went through Jefferson Hospital, Jefferson Abington. Some people do Fox Chase, because that's a cancer center. But I was comfortable in my choice in going to Jefferson, and it was a successful surgery. And again, I don't have cancer. That was my thing, So keep it in prayer. You'll be guided that way, of course. But you say you're scared. I wasn't scared. I just wanted the cancer to be removed, and whatever it needed to be done, let's do it. And I wasn't scared.
Wow. So man, sure sounds like a lot of that was on faith. A lot of that was on faith. And
yeah. And like I said in talking to Richard, that kept me uplifted. But like I said, man, the main thing for me was, I want to get rid of this cancer. And when it was time to make a decision, it was my decision. Surgery, chemo, radiation. I want to do the surgery. Let's go. Let's set up the date. It took a month to set everything up. We set it up. And September the 8th of 2021, I was in Methodist Hospital down South Philly. Get prepared. Next thing I know, I was in recovery, cuz I don't even remember going to sleep.
How long did it I was talking to my uncle, Smitty, and my uncle was like, how long did it take for recovery? I'm telling you, that's what I'm scared of.
Well, I did have an issue with my recovery. I think they tapped a muscle, and I had so much pain down in this area that I had to sit on the edge of the chair, so that way it was easier for me to stand up from the seating position, or had to ease my way out of bed. But other than that, what the surgeon said, that's not normal. I think I was out of work for about 2.5 to 3 months, but I got better every day. And the best exercise for it, after you do, other than the Kegel, is the walk. You're welcome.
Well, I think, man, I thank you, man, because my uncle shared some light on me with this. I was mad at my wife about this. I was mad at people about this, and I'm mad at the world about this. And now I'm coming to find out that I shouldn't be mad. This is reality. This is real, man.
And it happens to.
As much as my uncle drive me nuts and gets on my nerve, I guess he said, I got to send somebody over here to really put it into your perspective to you that ain't even a relative of yours, but that's my man. He said, that's my man. I'm going to send him over to talk to you. So I appreciate this moment, you know what I mean? And,
Yes, sir. Like I said, keep it in prayer. He'll guide your path. I don't know what levels of the cancer will determine which way you go. But again, for me, I had a choice. I could go either way. And again, when they told me that radiation and chemo, the cancer could come back.
Take it down.
Oh no, we're not doing that. But let's not take that chance. And I know people that did radiation and chemo, and they have issues afterwards. And like you said, 48 days in a row that you had to do the chemo and radiation. I don't remember. I'm only going by what you said. I don't remember how many. I think it was 6 weeks. 6 weeks, 6 weeks straight, every day. And I think it was like maybe an hour, or if not longer, every day. So no, we're not doing that.
Well, I appreciate this, man.
No doubt, man.
I told my aunt that I talked to you, man. This is real, man. This
Stay
is
on
real.
top of it.
I certainly will. I'll make sure I tell my uncle that you reached out to me. He crazy. He always want to slap me upside my head. Yeah.
Good morning. How you doing?
Good. What's your name?
Darnell Bennett.
And who are you here to see today?
Dr. Reese.
Okay. You can have a seat. We'll be right with you.
Okay, thank you very much.
Mr. Bennett?
Hi, how you doing? Good.
Listen, it's okay. You're making the biggest step by just pushing past your fears and your...
Come in.
Okay, hey, Mr. Bennett. Good to
Hey,
see you
Doc.
again.
How you doing?
Mrs. Bennett, I presume?
Yes.
Okay, nice to meet
Nice
you.
to meet you,
All right.
too.
All right, Mr. Bennett, so yeah, thank you for coming back. Well, I know you were here the other day. What brings you back in?
First of all, Doc, I want to apologize to you for the other day for me storming out of the room. It was just, oh my God, it was just mind baffling just to know that I'm coming in here to get this test done. So
Yeah.
I owe you an apology for storming out the room. I mean, you just have the best interest for me to help me live my life a little bit longer. So
Yeah, no, I mean, apology accepted. I think your reaction, it's a very common reaction for men when they're dealing with this topic. So, I totally understand, and I appreciate the apology. Thank you.
So after doing this, after going home and talking to my wife,
Yeah.
we know that the internet and media social network and so a lot of things, and I really went deep into this, and I jotted some general questions down. And one of the questions was, I feel fine, I don't feel bad. How can you for the prostate,
Yeah. So I mean that's one of the crazy things about prostate cancer is that most men in early stages of prostate cancer, they don't have any symptoms, they don't feel bad, they feel completely normal. But that's when we want to catch the cancer in an early stage, because then we can still treat it and we can still cure it at that point. If we wait until you have symptoms, if we wait until there's blood in your urine, or you're losing weight, or you have decreased appetite, if we find prostate cancer at that stage, oftentimes it's too late, and we can still treat it, but we can't cure it anymore. So the goal is really to find the cancer at an early stage, and at that stage you wouldn't have any symptoms. You wouldn't feel any differently than you normally do.
What does the prostate do?
So the prostate, it's an organ that sits right below the bladder, and the main thing it does is it makes most of the semen. So, you know, when you have sex and you ejaculate, most of the semen that comes out, most of that is made by the prostate.
Wow.
Yeah.
What does, what is the PSA?
Yeah, so the PSA test, that's probably the most common test that we order to check for prostate cancer. It's a simple blood test. All you have to do is go to the lab and get your blood drawn. PSA stands for prostate-specific antigen, which is a protein that's made only by the prostate. And we know that PSA levels are elevated in men that have prostate cancer. So if you have that blood test checked and your results come back high, that's when we might need to do some additional tests to check to make sure that you don't have prostate cancer.
You have any questions?
Well, I just want to know about there's so many men, it seems like they're just happening once they get older, particularly black men. What do we know about prostate cancer? When's the cure coming?
Yeah, so there's a lot we do know and there's a lot we don't know about prostate cancer. If we do find prostate cancer at an early stage, there are treatments that we can give you that would cure you. So we do have a lot of treatments that can cure prostate cancer. We don't know exactly why prostate cancer forms. We know that it's the most common cancer that's diagnosed in American men. And it's particularly common in African American men, about twice as common in African American men compared to Caucasian men.
Why is that?
People have done a lot of work at understanding that. Nobody really understands why. There are some ideas as to why that might be the case, but nobody knows for sure. But again, we do know that if we find the cancer early, there are many treatments that we can give that should be able to cure the cancer for you and eliminate it entirely.
So just regular testing will be able to detect it early, and then sounds like most of the men aren't going to the doctor. That's what it sounds like to me. If you can catch it early and it's curable, sounds like men.
Yeah, so the goal is always to catch it early, and in men, if we can catch it early, it's very treatable and curable. Where we do oftentimes run into trouble is men that don't get checked and they present with a later stage of disease. Then we can try and slow it down, but we can't often cure it at that point.
What are some of the treatments?
So it does somewhat depend on the stage of the disease. If we catch it early, oftentimes it would be a surgery or a radiation treatment, which would treat the cancer and hopefully eliminate it. Some cancers we catch so early and they don't appear to be terribly dangerous cancers, and we can just monitor those cancers. So we don't even need to treat it, we just monitor it, and if it doesn't show any signs of getting worse, we can leave it be. Sometimes, and we don't want this to be the situation, but if we find a more advanced cancer, then we can give you some treatments, often hormonal treatments that will slow the cancer down. They might not cure it, but they would slow it down at that stage. But as I said before, the goal is to find it early when we can still cure it. That's what we're hoping.
One more reason for you to be here. I'm so glad you're here.
Doc, as thinking about this, I'm a healthy guy, I work out a lot. Is there any way that you could help prevent this, or is there such a thing?
Yeah, so exercise is very important for many aspects of your health. We do think that exercise and a healthy diet probably decrease your risk of prostate cancer somewhat, but even those things can't 100% of the time prevent prostate cancer. So those, healthy activities like that will lower your risk, but they don't eliminate the risk entirely.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Well,
I'm just glad you're here. And well, one more thing. Wives inquiring minds want to know. Early detection, curing it, and we can just still be a happily romantic married couple.
Yeah, oftentimes yes. Most of the time, yes.
Okay. All right,
once again,
Passion Flower.
I apologize to you, and Doc, I made the decision that I do want to get this test done because I see how important it is for me, my health. So
okay, so what we would do today would be the rectal exam, so I can examine the prostate, and then we'd send you down to the lab to get the PSA blood test done. Okay. If you're on board with that.
Okay.
So let me just wash my hands, and we'll do that exam, and then we'll get you on the way. Okay.
Okay.
All right.
This is good. You're going to really, I think you're right. Early detection. Power, all those things. You're going to be all right.
Okay, just gotta grab some gloves. All right. So what I need you to do, I know that this is a part you haven't been looking forward to, but we'll make it quick and easy, is I just need you to stand up, and if you don't mind dropping the pants down, and then I just need to quickly put my finger in your bottom to check the prostate, okay? Okay. All right.
It's okay. It's okay.
Hey,
Hey, babe.
Hey, this. I'm sorry for all that I did. What I said. I was angry. I was upset about this whole thing.
It's okay, babe.
Will you forgive me?
Of course. Already forgiven.
Thank you for going to the doctors with me.
Where else would I be? I want you to live.
Yeah, I see. Will you forgive me?
Of course I forgive you, tipsy man.
Oh, man, it's good. It's all cool.
Well, I mean, I can't say I don't like you like this.
Oh, man. Thank you for being very supportive to me. I love you.
I love you too. I love you so much. I feel like we need to finish this upstairs.
Oh, let's go.
My urologist assured me that getting this surgery, it would add 20 years to my life.
I believe that a lot of times that, we lack knowledge. And when we lack knowledge, we lack power, especially in our community.
There is this mythology that runs through our community way too much that if I test for it, I'm going to catch it, or I'd rather not know.
Good morning, sir. My name is Shariff Blackwell.
Yes, sir.
So, Pastor Waller, can you give me some insight on why it's important for black men to be tested for prostate cancer?
Well, a couple of reasons. Number one, prostate cancer is one of the real challenges of African American manhood. The health disparities would suggest, we use the language that says for a lot of us, it's not if, but when. And so it's important. It's a very prevalent issue in our community. And so, at the age of 40, it's time to get checked, period. It's just a part of the life cycle of black men. And so it should be normative that we get checked.
Have you ever been tested?
Absolutely.
Okay. Can you share some light on us young fellas about what made you go tested?
Well, the first time I was tested is when I was 40 years old, because I was told that at the age of 40, we need to start getting tested. It's actually a funny story, because I was at the Urban League convention, and you know how it's tested. But when I saw it said free digital rectal exam. So when I saw the word digital, I started thinking electronic, something like that. So I figured this is a new way without having to get, the digital.
Yes, sir.
So I walked in there and I didn't see anything electronic. And so then the doctor comes in. I said, I thought this was digital. He said, it is digital, these digits. And he put the glove on. And so I had my first exam. A bottom line is I think that men are challenged by it because, number one, that's not something we're comfortable with, the insertion of another person's finger in our backside. Number one. Number two, there is this mythology that runs through our community way too much that if I test for it, I'm going to catch it, or I'd rather not know. So those are things that go on in our community that we need to cut through. Testing is important because early detection means you can survive it. And just because you get tested for it doesn't mean you're going to discover it. And it doesn't challenge your manhood for someone's finger to go up your backside, because that's just the best way to check for it.
Yes, sir. Yeah. Then why don't men have this discussion with us young fellas in the barbershops? Instead of talking about girls and basketball, why don't they have that big discussion so that we can be aware?
The sad reality is because so many men, for the reasons I just talked about, haven't done it, they can't talk about what they don't know. And so the more we have these conversations, the more you normalize it, the more we normalize it here with our health ministry, know your numbers. It makes it a natural conversation. It's not the most normal conversation for men to sit around and talk about what has gone up their backside. And that has huge implications for what we talk about. But you doing a film like this helps normalize the conversation. And as we normalize it, we can get men talking about it. Bottom line, you turn 40, it's time to get it checked. And then let your doctor tell you how often.
Well, I appreciate everything that you just shared with us so far. Looking forward to interviewing you with more about men. And I think that if we all men can come together, we can make a difference with our health, because our health is really important. That's right. And we need to share this quite often. So on last, we say, is anything else you want to discuss with us before we wrap this up?
Well, bottom line, here at church, we'll say your body is a temple of the Holy Spirit. So all the wonderful things that God wants to do in your life and gifted you to do and all that, you got to be healthy to do them. And so God has promised to do all the other stuff, but he does partner with us, and partnering with us means we have a responsibility to check in on our health. Go to the doctor, get your regular exams, and as you age, add to that battery of exams age-appropriate tests. And if you do that, we can be here for a while, and we can be in the game for a while. So,
how you doing? My name is Shariff Blackwell.
Shariff, nice to meet you, brother.
Pleasure. So we're trying to interview men about prostate cancer, about why it's important for men to be tested for prostate cancer.
Okay.
Can you share some light on that for me, please?
Well, it's important to get tested because, if you go to the doctor every year for your yearly checkup, it's good to know your numbers. Knowing your PSA, that's a very important number to know, especially how they judge you from your previous PSA from your last PSA numbers. So if your numbers can elevate or your numbers could go down. So if your numbers elevate, so you have to really pay attention, the numbers, your diet, and your lifestyle.
So what's PSA?
PSA is when they take blood samples.
Okay.
They take blood samples and they take it to the lab and find out to see, if you have cancer in your body.
Okay. So is the difference between the rectum way and the blood work?
Well, the rectum way is a doctor put on a glove, lubricate the glove, and testing to see if you have a swollen prostate.
Okay.
So a swollen prostate also is a sign that there's something going on in your prostate. Okay. So it doesn't necessarily mean you have cancer because it's swollen. Sometimes a man can have an enlarged prostate.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
So what can you teach us young fellas about prostate?
First of all, prostate is a muscle. And it's a muscle that helps you control your urine, help you control your sperm, because how can I explain this? Without your prostate, like after you had the surgery and all,
yes, sir,
you had no control of your urine. So that prostate muscle, you can hold it if when you gotta go to the bathroom.
Yes, sir.
The prostate muscle helps control that. So with the prostate gone after you have your surgery, you can't hold your urine like you did when you had one.
Yes, sir.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So same as your sperm. Like, when a man ejaculate, the prostate has something to do with that. So when the prostate gone, that ejaculation, that sperm don't come out. So I think when brothers get that knowledge and get the understanding about that, I think it puts some fear in a lot of brothers But if you got cancer, it's decision and choices that you got to make.
Did you ever be tested for prostate?
Yes, I have.
And what was your outcome?
Well, I've been tested, like I say, every time I go to the doctor to get a physical, I get tested. So each time I was going, my numbers was going up. So when the numbers went up on the last time, I had to get a what they call a biopsy.
Okay.
A biopsy is when you go, the urologist would take samples of your prostate.
Okay.
So they put a probe with a camera, and you could watch the whole procedure laying on the table like in a fetus position, and as they be snipping 12 samples off your prostate. So that will determine exactly where the cancer is at in your prostate.
How did that make you feel?
Number one, you feel violated, but you have to have the mindset, this is for your health. You know what I mean? I mean, especially when he told me I had cancer. So hearing that C word, I had fear.
Okay.
I had fear. But the reality is, what can be done to get rid of the cancer. So throughout, they go up your rectum with the probe and get the samples, and they use the glove. But at the end of the day, if it's going to save your life, you got to put all the other stuff. You got to put it aside.
So why don't you think that our elders don't sit down with us and discuss those things? Like my dad, I don't know. My dad, he don't talk to me about anything. And the importance that we miss is that us young fellas don't know anything about this. So when the doctors ask us, we like, nah, we don't know nothing about it. So trying to educate not only myself, but younger fellas, younger than me.
Mm.
Why isn't that the older ones really push that to us? Instead of talking to us about sports and girls, why can't we have a big discussion about this?
Well, I'm considering myself now an older man. I mean, I'll be 68 years old. So talking to younger guys now, younger than me, I don't have no problem doing that. But the generation that came before me, the older guys didn't talk about it. I think a lot of them had it, prostate cancer. They died from prostate cancer. They probably didn't know what it was. Because they said, the medical report that black men, we real high in the numbers, number one in prostate cancer, so they say. But at the same time, older guys didn't talk about it. I think too, on the flip side of that is a man pride. Sometimes their pride get in the way, telling you that they had to go to the doctor and the doctor had to give them that examination. So,
So if you can talk to me as a young man, what would you tell me to tell my children?
Get tested. Know all your numbers. Blood pressure, your A1C for diabetes, get the PSA for your prostate, and for us as black men, also get your colon. Get your colon checked out, where you get colonoscopies, which is very important. They tell you wait till you 50 years old, but you shouldn't wait till you're 50. I mean, my belief, because I had two friends that died from colon cancer. That they say that's one of the most preventable cancers that could be cured. If you go to the doctor, they find polyps, whatever, on your colon, you could get surgery, get that taken care of.
So did you share with your kids when you found out that you got it?
Yeah, I have a son and a daughter. You know, they was a little afraid and upset, you know. At the same time, my urologist assured me that getting this surgery, you know, it would add 20 years to my life if I had got the surgery.
Okay.
So, I mean, there's few options and more studies of how they treat prostate cancer now. But at the time, it's been 12 years. I've been cancer free.
Okay.
And, you know, they had the seed implant, the radiation seeds, or you could get the prostate taken out, which I chose to get mine taken out.
Okay. I know some people still have it in them. Some people say they don't want that radiation.
Right.
Because it can come back. Is that true?
Yeah, it is true. My oldest brother, when he had got the seed implants, that procedure was fairly new.
Okay.
So when I talked to my urologist about the options of the seeds and getting it taken out, so he said it wasn't a history. You know, so the seed implant was here. So they don't have no history what that long outcome will be 5-10 years from now with the seed implants. So my oldest brother, he's 84, and he had complications for the last 20 some years from the seed implants.
Okay.
And you know, his PSA numbers is still high.
Okay.
So once they insert them seeds, they can't take them out. You know, so it's pretty much a done deal when they insert the seeds. So I advise anybody, you know, whatever procedure you decide to get done, you know, do your homework and just do what's best for you. But make sure whatever procedures that they have out here now, that they got a history of it, of, you know, how you can survive from it, you know, whatever procedure that you take.
Okay. Mr. McCoy, I really appreciate everything.
Yeah, I appreciate
taking this time to really educate us, and we're going to push this. So I think that all men should be aware about this, and we need to bring this to life like everything else is brought to life.
Yeah.
And I want to say thank you so much.
You're welcome. Can I just say one thing?
Yes, sir.
I think the main thing too, when they say, you know, this thing, prostate cancer is like #1 for black men, but I think a lot of it has to do with our diet. You know, speaking to several urologists and those that just don't want to cut you, but talking to a urologist would just talk about my health. Our diets, eating fried foods, eating beef, a lot of beef, red meats. All this stuff is part of the problem of causing black men to have prostate problems. Eating green vegetables, and one green vegetable particularly is good for black men that we need to eat all the time is kale.
Okay.
Yeah, but I know all this now.
Yes,
if
sir.
I had known this 20 years ago,
Right.
I guess we wouldn't be sitting here having this conversation, because I would have been eating my green vegetables even more.
Well, it's actually kind of good because now we are starting to get educated on this.
Right.
So as we get educated,
Right.
we're trying to teach the 40-year-olds,
Right.
the 35-year-olds that's coming up.
Right.
So we trying to make this into a good play.
Okay.
So not only is prostate cancer an awareness, we got a play that we're going to play with this.
Okay.
And so that it can be humor, it
Right.
can be love, it can be an affection, a prayer, and letting men know that we love y'all.
Right.
We love y'all, and we want y'all here,
Absolutely.
my brother. So I need you to help me help you.
Right.
So if you can help me, let me help them.
Okay.
So this is why God had laid this on my heart to do this. Because as I'm talking to you, you educate me.
Okay.
And I'm really.
Well, that's good, bro. Iron sharpens iron, brother.
Yes, sir,
so
bro.
that's what we need to do. I mean, it's like blessings is not for us to keep for ourselves.
Yes, sir.
But when we bless, gonna bless somebody else.
Yes, sir.
So I'm glad I'm part of this.
Yes, sir.
To bless you and hopefully to bless somebody else.
Yes, sir. Hello, my name is Shariff Blackwell.
Pleasure, Dr. R.G. Allen Wilson.
Pleasure to meet you, Shariff Blackwell.
Morgan Wilson, Shariff.
Okay,
Nice to meet you, brother.
let's meet you. So, we're here to talk about prostate cancer. We want to know why men don't get checked for prostate cancer and why it's not being publicized throughout our community, the importance of being checked for prostate cancer. Doc, can you please share some light on that for me, please?
Well, one of the things, and thank you for the question, and thank you for your commitment to the messaging in our community. I believe that a lot of times that, we lack knowledge, and when we lack knowledge, we lack power, especially in our community. And so when we think about prostate cancer, even all the big C's, if you will, a lot of the connection or the correlation to not getting tested or more black people dying at higher levels due to prostate cancer, specifically men, is related to the lack of screenings and the lack of going to the doctor. And I know your numbers is coming up.
Yes.
And also the type of screening. And I think Morgan can speak to this more than I can with regards to the resistance of the digital exam and the stigma that's attached to that. And so if we don't have buy-in around how this is going to save the lives of men and boys perhaps, then who could potentially be the next responsible person for curing cancer, then we're not doing our job. So it's the messaging.
Okay.
Well, I truly believe your health is your wealth.
Yes, sir.
As a man. And so I think sometimes it's all about how you position it and how you express it to a man. I mean, if you could put it in that framework, then maybe many women might understand it and actually have a more positive reaction and response to it. But as a man, if I'm responsible for my family, then I have to take care of my health. Okay. If I don't take care of my health, I can't be here for my family. I can't be a producer. I can't be a provider, protector. I can't do any of it. And so for me, health is very important for me to be here. And quite frankly, you can take it from a very selfish point of view. I want to be in good shape. I want to have a better quality of life. So for that, with all new technology and medicine and so forth, why not avail myself of it to make sure that I take advantage of it? And I understand the digital exam is quite, invasive for sure.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
But I'm not saying anything else. You gotta get over it. Okay. And move on because it's a medical situation. So for me, it's all about being there for my family and doing whatever I can do to make sure I'm here and I'm showing up at my best.
So, we go to the barbershop, we sit around with the fellas, and we have conversations about the girls and about the games and what the Eagles got, why did they keep Swift and all this other stuff. But when we bring up a subject like this, of prostate cancer, everybody shuns away from it. And then when you try to talk about it, people don't want to hear it. But it's so important because we are dying, and when we put it out there, this is the second deadly disease amongst men that is killing us. And when we say this to men, well, we gotta die from something. So why not that? What you mean? Then that means you don't love your family, because if you love your family, you will try to be here for your family. I just wanted to ask you, have you ever been tested?
Absolutely. I have a test annually.
And
I test not even during the time of million numbers.
Okay.
I just test for me, it's an educational piece. I educated myself on it. I know a bunch of brothers in my age and demographic that have had prostate cancer, have done well. My father-in-law had prostate cancer years ago. This is talking about over 20 years ago, I would imagine.
Almost 30.
Almost 30 years ago. So
he's still here.
He's still here, and he's in his 80s.
Okay.
So this is something that personally for me, I know a lot of brothers who've experienced it, gone through it, and doing well. My spiritual father, Gene Austin Jefferson, went through it himself, doing well. I mean, so if you catch it early enough, it's all about education for me. If you educate a brother and share the information with him, even if you may have that initial reaction, well, I got to die from something.
Right.
Well, that's more of a reaction of a guy that's not informed.
And
fear. Because if I asked him, what does he do for a living? He'll go through a litany of all the things he does. There's all kind of continual education. If he's a skilled worker, if he's a lawyer, whatever you do, that's why I say equate it to health is your wealth. If you put a monetary thing around it, most often, most guys, quite frankly, don't want to stay ignorant about it. They will understand that concept and connect the dots and be more amenable and to understand it and then take the first step. That's the key thing. Take the first step, get educated, get more information, and then from there, once you educate yourself on something, you tend not to be afraid of it.
Okay.
And then you can move forward.
Yes, sir. So when I go to the doctors, right, I look around the doctor's office. I see breast cancer. I see you take this AIDS pill, this blue pill, so you can detect AIDS. And I'm looking, I don't see nothing at all dealing with prostate cancer. I don't see a pamphlet. I don't see a picture. I don't see nothing. And when I turn the TV on, I see the same thing. I don't see none of that. And it's like, how can we get educated if the doctor's office or the subways, the buses, the commercials, it's not pushing it out there for us? How would you be able to be knowledgeable on it? Well, can you, hold on, I gotta hold you. Doc, can you explain that to me, please?
Well, you know, when we talk about messaging, oftentimes for our community, we are looking for the professional to educate us.
Yes.
And I think that's relevant. But I think what's more relevant is for us to begin the process of educating ourselves, because we live in an era where we go to Dr. Google for almost anything. Now, I'm not recommending you go to the internet for every piece of information, but the information is absolutely out there for us. And we have to share this information with one another. Quite frankly, you just talked about men being in the barbershop. I think each one teaches one, each one reaches one, and together we then elevate each other. And so, yes, should it be in the doctor's office? Absolutely, absolutely. But that becomes problematic because there needs to be more people who are practitioners that look like you and I and Morgan. So that if you invest in us, then you get the best of us. The investment in us is to educate us holistically and comprehensively. So the question is, what doctor's office are you going to be in? Because if you're in the doctor's office with some that look like us, then they absolutely need to be investing in the community by sharing the messaging and not getting caught up in the amount of time, quite frankly, that you're in that space.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
It makes a lot of sense. And I really, you know, myself as well, I had my prostate test. And the doctor wanted to test me, but didn't tell me why he tested me. He just said, you at that age, let's get it done. And I'm like, okay, oh, but why are you testing me this? But didn't really give me
giving the context, the information.
You wanted to do it, but you didn't give me all follow up and say, this is why A, B, C, D. You didn't get that. So it makes me upset, like, y'all want to do this, but y'all not sharing to us or giving us facts of why we should do it. And then one time I went to the doctors and I asked the doctor, can I get tested? They said, you're not at that age yet.
Well, see, here's the thing about the baseline, right? There is a protocol for these screenings at baseline. The challenge with the baseline is that the BIPOC community, black men and women, are dying at higher rates because oftentimes they say this is your baseline. But if you have, they don't go the next step, which is that if you have a history, if it's in your genealogy, if it's if there's a thread or a trend within your family system, then that then should decrease your baseline and it makes you at higher risk. If you're at higher risk, then you should get those screenings early on, because by the time you get a screening, it might be too late for prostate cancer.
Whew, you're making me hot. I'm like, you know, I mean, because it's like, I don't know my family history. So if I'm going in with a doctor, I'm saying, Doc, you're a doctor. Doc, I don't know my family history about any illness. You talk diabetes, heart disease, prostate cancer, colon cancer, I don't know. So if I'm going in, I'm lack of knowledge of my family history because my father or mom or aunties, uncles never sat down and really talked to us about what's really important. Until we find out later what he died from, what she died from. We find out later. And I'm like, but why not educate us? And our parents take stuff to their grave. And then we find out later, yeah, my heart troubles, and then they investigate, oh, your mom had it, your dad had it. It's genetic. Well, why nobody didn't say this to us?
Well, two things. First of all, I wanted to say earlier, I want to commend you for doing it. You said, how can we do it? How can we change? And you felt you was making a point that it wasn't information in the doctor's office, it wasn't around. But what you're doing right here, it's adding to that. It's helping that along, making this documentary, putting forth this message, you're adding to that. So you're actually pushing that along. I don't want to commend you for it. But my wife is a psychologist, and part of being a psychologist is a doctor. She's not a medical doctor, but psychologist is really going and unpacking the history, genealogy, your family, your background. So very much similar to what she does as a profession, is a medical doctor is going to ask you the question, what about your mom? Do you know that information? By asking those questions, you may not have the answer to it. But then now that puts you in a mind frame, let me go search and get the answer from whoever living. My aunt died or whoever it may be, yes, Uncle Sam or, my Uncle Dudley or whoever it's going to be. Hey, what's going on? What happened? And kind of push it a little bit and get them to talk and give you the information that you desperately need so you can live healthier and be a better you. That's important.
So, I'm funny you said that. I had this on my mind for 20 years about this prostate cancer. But I felt like nobody wanted to listen to me. Because when I shared it, I got shut down. When I went to the barbershop and said, let's talk about it, they was like, man, we don't want to talk about that. So I got shut down. But as I got older, I got the fear out of me. And I asked God, I'm holding on to something. I need to let it out. And I need to bring it to everybody of my vision, what I saw, what God showed me in my dream, to put together this play, movie, film, documentary, whatever it is, on prostate cancer, and to bring it to life, and to start talking about it more. Because if I don't, then there's brothers out here that's going to be dying. And I could have been the one that really brought awareness to them of my journey that I saw, that God gave me the vision to see. So as I'm doing that now, Men Know Your Numbers in April the 20th. We are going to show it there for everyone to see.
Blaine Newberry.
Yes, sir. How
Brother Darnell and this Mrs. Newberry. How are you guys doing today?
Great.
Good. It's indeed an honor to sit across from you guys to understand about prostate cancer. And we know that you, Reverend Newberry, have gone through the journey. Could you take us back down memory lane, the year, and what was going through your mind?
Sure. It was August the 11th. August the 11th, 2011. Got a phone call from my doctor's nurse practitioner. I pretty much had it resolved in my mind that I was going to be diagnosed with prostate cancer because of previous bouts of enlarged prostate that I had probably for about 7 to 9 years. It was arranged. once I got that diagnosis, of course, you know, I didn't call my wife right away or anything like that. I just said a prayer to the Lord and just negotiated in my mind what areas of my life were not at a resolve. In other words, things like a will, your insurances, you know, you think about caring for your wife, your family. So those insurances, and then after that, once I got through that, I was, you know, on the phone and just let her know.
So you talk about spiritual, and I hear that you was talking about how you prayed about that. What was that life like when you had to go home and tell your wife that you was experiencing this prostate cancer?
Sure. Well, the good thing, I was already home, and I believe that day I just called. My memory serves me correctly. I just called her just to let her know what the diagnosis was. So at the end of the day, while there might have been a minimal level of fear, I was ready to face it. And that was it. Facing it was about my faith at the time, not being super religious or anything of that nature. It was, this was not unto death. So I already had that resolved because I had a number of family members who had various forms of cancer who had already passed away. But I always said that if I were to be diagnosed with cancer at some point in my life, that I was going to face it. No matter what it was. So that's when the ball began to roll in terms of executing communication and so forth, and, you know, drawing Kathy into what was going on.
Wow, that's a strong positive thing that you just shared on me. So I'm 57 years old, and I've never had the test done. And when I was asked to do this, it was indeed an honor. I've learned so much from this as the journey has begun. And I do believe in God, and God is my strength and my source. What advice could you give to people like me that never had it done, one, and those who are out there that are afraid to get it done, and how to stay strong with that?
Right, so at 57, you're saying that was your first time?
I never had it done. I never had the test.
You never had?
I am about to go get the test done.
Right, but you did know about it?
Right.
You've heard?
Exactly.
Okay, sure. So now because we have enough information, in other words, we have statistics, we have research that's been done, there's a wealth of information that one can draw into to gain even more knowledge about it. I would always encourage someone to read as much as they know, to have conversations with someone like myself, but many other brothers and their family members who have already experienced it. Okay, so that's where the encouragement comes, but also because we are who we are, if you have a level of faith, even with the fear, the Lord says that I have not given you the spirit of fear, but of love, power, and a sound mind. So you just can't toss God to the side now. This is when you really need his spirit to work on you. But the encouragement would come from us sitting as we're doing now, face to face, you know, encouraging you to go through the process. I would walk through it with you, and there are other brothers who would do the same.
Wow. You know, we know you, Brother Blaine Newberry. You was always around the church. You working hard. You're spiritual. I know you personally. We go back a little bit in time and everything. When we look at the marriage part about this, and you know that you have dealt with this card of prostate cancer, how did it make you stronger to your lovely wife right there?
Well, it's because of levels of reciprocation. So while a marriage can be tested, while this was a test, it wasn't the strongest test, because we were caring for one of my brothers who passed away in August 20th, 2021. So I felt as though we had already started a process that could test our marriage, where the marriage could have went left or to the right. You see what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, this is my brother. So I'm asking my wife to join me in the process of being caregiver or caregivers together for him. So we had already been in what I call a test vacuum, you know, with the Lord. So for me, it was cancer, but I could fight it. You see what I mean? I never felt like I couldn't fight it. Never felt, like I said before, that it was unto death. I never I never had that experience. But what you do have is this big two-lettered word, should I say? If. And if says if this happens, or if this doesn't happen. What about if the treatment doesn't? Well, what if this? What if that? So I had to resolve in my mind, but necessarily not by myself, but with her. Like, okay, if this happens, so we juggle those conversations. Yeah.
That's truly amazing about that. You know, I'm putting another question. You know, I'm quite sure that you have seen a lot of men around the church or outside the church walls. What advice or how can men come together and be supported as men? Because we know that this is a difficult challenge because their life goes from here to here with some of the challenges and some of the things that follow after the operation. How is that support group doing? Or, you know, welcome.
So again, we could say support one-on-one. We can't say support in a group like we have here now. The church, which thank God it is growing continually, and you have those levels of engagement. So what you end up finding out is that the same experiences that you had, there are other men who have gone through the same experiences. There's one area which a lot of us don't talk about. It's amazing. My brother suffered from schizophrenia most of his life. However, isn't it interesting that now the system, no matter what area it is, if someone kind of veers to the left a little bit or too much to the right, everything's blamed upon mental health. At the end of the day, we talk about prostate cancer. There's a level of holistic care that needs to follow that brother for a period of time. One area is mental health. We never talk about the mental health factor. Doctors don't talk about that. They'll talk about going to a clinician that can help you do your Kegel exercises. They'll talk about, keeping your appointments. They'll talk about, well, you're within that 20% window of the cancer returning and all that. No. What about my mind? How important is it? If my mind isn't that important to you, then I'm going to take advantage of and take care of it myself. But in my case, I have a spouse who I can talk to, but she can't give me all the answers because I'm a male. So another male could talk to me in a way that she can't. But this male I have to trust. So I put that male, and just because they're a doctor or clinician, I respect you in your field just as they would respect me as being a minister of the gospel. But still, you have to be tried from me in my own, my own way. Yeah.
We will wrap this up. Ms. Newberry, is there anything that you would like to add to that?
Not a whole lot to it. Blaine has pretty much explained how he dealt with it. We did, like I said earlier, we talked about it, and that was a good thing. I didn't liken it to, and I actually kind of forgot because it just became part of life. But caregiving is crucial. As the spouse, either you want to do it, or as the girlfriend or whomever, if you choose to decide. I realize it's a huge part. Likening it to several brothers who sometimes can't handle women who have breast cancer. You have to choose, do I want to do this for the long haul? Yes. And what am I in it for? So I say that to say a lot of it comes from head and heart. Yes. To want to make that decision to say, I'm going to stay in here for the long haul.
That's incredible. Well, it was indeed an honor to sit down with both of you. And as I was sitting here, the Holy Spirit led something in my head. When we think about marriage, we think about that great day. We walked down the aisle, all the people was here, people was doing this, and all people was doing this. The one thing both of you guys have demonstrated to me, and even as me as a married person, the one time, sometimes we forget, when you ask someone, what do you remember about the wedding? they'll tell you all the glitches and the glitches, but they forget out the vows. You guys demonstrate what the wedding vows are. Even me, as a person, to demonstrate what the wedding vows, as you two have gone through this journey together. And it's real strong, brother. Reverend Newberry, you know, you was a jokester. We love to joke, but when I look at you, you are a very serious, compassionate brother that loves the Lord, and you have rubbed off on me. As I said, we go way back, and how Kathy, that he was like Darnell, you know, he had that Malcolm X voice, and Darnell, it's time to come on to see the Lord. And I thank God for you, brother, Reverend Newberry, for instilling that, because I wouldn't be somewhat spiritual the way I am right now. So I thank you guys for this interview. It was powerful, it was impactful, and just let God continue to bless you on this journey. God bless you.
Bless you, sir. Thank you.
Hey, Doc, how you doing? My name is Darnell Bennett.
Dan Guinness.
Good, nice to meet you. Nice to meet you. Thank you for taking time out to talk about this movie that we're doing. It's called The Silent Killer. And it's been very interesting talking to doctors and to find out what prostate cancer. As time going on, it's something called advanced prostate. Could you please elaborate and explain that to me?
Sure. Yeah, well, so my name is Dan Guinnessman. I'm a medical oncologist. And, you know, in oncology, you have surgeons, you have radiation oncologists, and then you have medical oncologists. And medical oncologists typically focus on systemic therapy. So what does that mean? Drugs, whether that's immunotherapy, targeted therapy, hormone therapy, or chemotherapy. That's our main way of treating cancer, as opposed to surgeons who operate, or radiation oncologists who will try to kind of zap the cancer with their machines. And so for prostate cancer in particular, we are oftentimes involved when the cancer has spread outside the prostate. So remember, prostate cancer starts in the prostate gland, which every man has. And if it's caught early, it can be hopefully cured, either with surgery or radiation. And sometimes we help that. We help with hormone therapy. But if it spreads, if it's caught later on, that's definitely where a medical oncologist comes in to use things like hormone therapy, immunotherapy, chemotherapy, things like that, to stop the growth, get a man into remission, and help him live a long time with a good quality of life. So that's the fundamental role of a medical oncologist. And we sort of collaborate then with surgeons and radiation oncologists as a team. It's really a team approach to treat men with prostate cancer.
Wow, that's pretty amazing. You know, when you talk about the prolong of if they have it a long time and trying to isolate it. There, what is a lifespan on that? You know.
Yeah. Well, it is highly variable, but men really can live for many years now with prostate cancer, even if you're diagnosed with prostate cancer. Even if we say, listen, we can't cure you, even then, men can live for many, many years with the disease, with oftentimes a good quality of life. So I like to think about it like diabetes or high blood pressure. Mm-hmm. We can't cure diabetes, we can't cure your high blood pressure, but we can give you medications to get under control and for you to have a good life, good quality of life. It's a chronic disease. Mm-hmm. That's ultimately what we try to do with prostate cancer, even if it's advanced. Make it a chronic disease that you can live with, don't need to be ashamed about, can do all the stuff you want to do with your family, but have it under control. And the earlier that you actually come in and have that conversation and begin the treatment, we know you have better outcomes. That's just how it is. The sooner you come in to get treated, the quicker we can stop this progression, the fewer side effects you're probably going to have. And that's really one of the keys is, getting men in to get diagnosed, to get screened, and to get treatment, at least to have a conversation about it.
Yeah. You talk about men coming in to get treated. We find, I'm 57 years old, we find that it's very hard as men to come in and get treated because of the exam. I mean, that is one of my fears that I have with that. How would you prepare somebody's mind with that as a doctor?
Well, I would say a couple things. First of all, it's true. There's the exam, the rectal exam, and nobody likes to think about that. But we have a blood test called a PSA, which is very sensitive, and that's the first step. That's not an exam, that's a blood draw, number one. Number two, there's actually new guidelines that are pushing men to have MRIs. So pictures, not an exam, to help diagnose prostate cancer. And then of course there's a biopsy involved, but the exam is actually slowly starting to fall out of favor because it's actually not that sensitive. We're not that good actually at detecting prostate cancer with the exam. If you don't have anything else, it's the best you've gotten, that's fine. And so historically people do it. But I would tell a man that, listen, if you're worried about an exam, why don't you come in first and have a conversation, because you may be surprised about what the doctor will tell you. They may tell you, let's get a PSA test. If that's elevated, maybe we need to get an MRI. If there's concern there, we can talk about a biopsy. Maybe you'll need an exam, maybe not, but at least have the conversation. And I think if most men at least have a conversation, hear what an exam is like and how quick it is, and even if it's necessary, I think most men would be okay. And if they're really not, I think most doctors can find a way around it.
Got you. That's really interesting, because I know that would be one of my fears that I have. Yeah. The question I have for you is, when we look at this and we talk about this, why does it affect the African American community so heavily and so much?
Right. Yeah, that's an important, good question. So African American men are almost 2 times as likely to get diagnosed with prostate cancer, and about as high of a rate of dying of prostate cancer. And I think there's a couple of reasons here. A big one I would kind of put under the bucket of social determinants of health. It's access to healthcare, it's coming in and seeing docs, it's sort of socioeconomic factors, it's where you live. Some of it perhaps is biology. It's the genes you're born with that are slightly different, that may predispose you to higher risk, more aggressive prostate cancer. But I'll say one of the interesting things we've found in the recent years is if you take an African American man and you take a white man and you treat them the same way, you give them the same advanced care, they actually do just as well. In fact, some studies show that African American men do actually better and respond better to the drugs than white men. So I think a big part of why the rate of diagnosis is higher and certainly the mortality is higher is worse access to care and just not the same degree of care. I think if you take you and I, and we both walk into the office of one of the urologists or radiation oncologists here, and we begin our journey with prostate cancer, I think we would have fairly similar outcomes if you take 100 guys like us, as long as we have access to that care.
Wow, that's really interesting, Doc. I mean, sitting here, you thinking that because it's in the African American community, but when you just broke that statistic down, that's really interesting for me to know that. When I'm looking at this, or when the world and society is looking at this as it's being explained, what can we do to promote this, or how can we? I want to say, we look at celebrities, we go to the barbershop, we talk about basketball, we talk about this, we talk about that. How can we promote this, or, get the word out about this test?
Well, I mean, I think you just have to be honest about it. Every man has a prostate. It's the most common cancer of men. And as we get older, as men get older, changes happen to the prostate gland, and many of us will develop prostate cancer. It's just a fact. It's just a fact of life.
It's a matter of time, you would say?
It's a matter of time. So it's a normal course of life, and let's talk about it. Let's talk about what we do, just like we talk about other things that we may not want to talk about, other chronic conditions we don't want to talk about, okay? Because there's a lot that can be done. See, I think 10 years ago, 20 years ago, if you don't have a lot of things you can do, you'd rather not talk about it, because what's the point of talking about it? There's nothing you can do. Well, now there's a lot that we can do. So it's normal. probably, if you're sitting in that room, if you're sitting in that barber shop and you talk and you look around, there's going to be a whole bunch of other people that have this cancer or will have that cancer or had a brother or a father with that cancer. So it's not a rare thing at all. So let's just have that conversation. And I think it's that first step. Just get in the door once and talk to somebody about it, talk to a physician about it. I think my experience is if men do that, most of that fear, that anxiety about it goes away, and you're able to get good care, and you're able to kind of enter into it. So I think it's just saying, let's talk about it, let's get that screening done.
Right.
There's nothing to be afraid of.
Yeah, because most men are married and their wives bring them in. I'm quite sure you see it in the office that most of the wives walk right in the office with them. My last question would be to you, what kind of advice could you give about the silent killer?
Yeah, I think it's silent if you don't talk about it. And I think if you sort of pull back the curtains and just discuss it and shine some light on it, it's not going to be a silent killer because there's a lot that we can do about it. So, it's akin to, you brought up women, you brought up, breast cancer, and mammograms. Who wants to go in and get a mammogram? But women do that all the time and it saves lives. And I think there's no reason the men can't do the same thing.
So you're trying to say we go in, come in a little bit more. Hey, that's what I'm feeling.
Yeah.
Well, listen, Doc, I appreciate you for spending some time. I know you have a very busy schedule, and I think you and I'm quite sure that we can get to people out there in the world and more men, because this thing is really serious. This silent killer is really serious, and I really appreciate it. And I'm quite sure that we probably touched some person out there or some man out there that is facing this challenge. Because me at 57 years old, I know you already don't face me because I am going to be setting up my exam. So I really appreciate you.
Darnell?
Hey, Doc. How you doing?
Hi, I'm Dr. Miyamoto. Nice to
Good.
meet you,
nice
sir.
Nice to meet you, too. Likewise.
So you're here today so that we can talk a little bit about prostate cancer and how important it is. I know you have some concerns and some questions.
Yes.
So we're going to try and answer some of those questions. We're also going to go over a little bit about treatment options, especially about radiation, because I'm a radiation oncologist. And so we are going to go over that. And I'll show you what the machine looks like and what will happen if that, God forbid, happens with prostate cancer. Hopefully not, but we'll talk about it, okay?
Yes.
All right.
How you doing today?
I'm always blessed. How are you?
I'm doing blessed too, man. I'm just, want to get awareness of this and, see what's going on and, why it's so important to be treated with this.
Sure.
This right here.
So we're going to come over here. This is actually a treatment room. So we're going to come over here.
Okay.
This is where we actually do radiation treatments. Okay. Fortunately, you don't need that right now. But we'll explain a little bit about what that is and what that means. Okay, well, thank you, sir.
Wow.
All right, pretty fancy, right? Yeah. And we'll get to that and we'll show you what that is and how it works and how you shouldn't be afraid of it. But hopefully, you can avoid ever needing it, all right? Because that really is going to be the goal.
Yes.
All right, so do you know what the prostate is?
Yes, from what I learned, is this a part of your body? You can explain it to me a little bit more, why it's so important then.
So the prostate only has one function in men, and it's only in men, okay? And that's for sex. So it's a sexual organ, all right? What the prostate does is it makes half of the fluid that comes out of an ejaculation. The other half is coming from two glands off the back called the seminal vesicles. So it's the seminal vesicles and it's the prostate together. The prostate sits just below the bladder, and the urethra, where the urine passes, goes from the bladder through the urethra, through the prostate, and out through the penis. When you have an ejaculation, the fluid that comes out, the liquid that comes out, is coming from the prostate. So that's why when you have an ejaculation, you kind of feel like there's a squeezing motion. Okay, and that is your prostate actually squeezing out that fluid.
Okay.
All right, so that's what it does. So it is a sexual organ. So no matter what we do with the prostate going forward, with cancer, etc., it could affect your ability to have sex. Okay, and what comes out, you can have dry ejaculations. So that's what the prostate is. So one of the things you have to know is that prostate cancer is very, very, very prevalent among African American males. Okay. and that it can be found in the very young, and the risk increases over time. We have found in autopsy studies where men were killed in battle and they went back and they had autopsies and they checked their prostate. This is a very old study, but one that's important because they were able to find prostate cancer in men as early as in their 20s. I personally have treated men in their 30s, okay, with prostate cancer, yes.
Wow.
Okay.
So this is why it's so important for us to get this checked out. So, you know.
It is critically important. In fact, in the city of Philadelphia alone, every year we diagnose over 1,000 cases of prostate cancer in Philadelphia. And about half of those men are African American males. So the risk is high. And so when you talk about, oh, should I get screened or not get screened? As an African American male, absolutely, because your risk is already higher than, let's say, somebody like me, an Asian male or a white male. And so it is so important that you get screened, okay? And people say, oh, well, I don't like to do that. Well, in general, most screens are just going to be a blood test. That's how we usually start. And a rectal examination, which sometimes is done and sometimes doesn't have to be done. But, you know, certainly the blood test at least needs to be done, and the educational awareness needs to be there. So, what do I mean by educational awareness? Well, we know that prostate cancer, for example, runs in certain families. And so we know that if you have, let's say, your father or your brother had prostate cancer, then your risk of developing cancer is very high, especially if they were under the age of 65. And so if you look and you talk to your family and you ask, and sometimes that's a little tough for men, right? We don't really talk about our health, and our relatives oftentimes don't talk about their health. But it's so important that we do that and we educate ourselves about what's going on in our family and what can be done to do things like screening, like a blood test. So what about your family?
Well, my father, I didn't, you know, I grew up without my father. And so, you know, this is why it's been a concern for me. You know, I never knew his medical history, but if you ask me, did I know who my father was? Absolutely. But I really didn't know what his medical history is. And as I was doing this research and started thinking, yes, we know that some men have their fathers part of their lives and some of them don't. So I basically fall in that target. I didn't know if my father had it or not. So just by being mentored by other men and physicians like you, it's helped me to say, you know what, I got to prepare myself for my children, my boys, that while I'm alive, and be able to not be secretive about my history of health issues, to be able to educate them. You know, you talked about the radiation, Doc. I mean, when you talk about the radiation, what is in detail of the radiation?
So a couple of things happen. So I can tell you about the radiation. This is a radiation machine. This is a radiation that goes from the outside. Radiation, you do not feel anything with it, so it doesn't hurt, okay? Depending upon how advanced your prostate cancer is, it could mean as little as 5 treatments, okay? And you won't feel anything with those treatments. They don't hurt, all right? It could be as long as, and sometimes as long as, up to 6 weeks of radiation, okay? But generally, it's going to fall between those 2 parameters, and it really depends upon the stage. This is where the radiation comes out, and it feels like a chest x-ray. Do you feel anything with a chest x-ray? You don't feel anything, right, with the radiation? No, so it feels just the same. You won't feel anything with it. As the machine turns around. In today's technology, we also have, built into the machines, what's called a cone beam CT scan. So the first thing that does is the machine turns around, gets a CAT scan of the area of the prostate. We see where the prostate is, line up the radiation treatment. Then we do the radiation treatment, and the radiation comes from here. It turns around all the way around you and delivers the treatment. It takes about 10 minutes for us to do the treatment.
It's 10 minutes?
Yep, 10 minutes.
Wow,
you don't feel anything with it.
Wow,
okay?
10 minutes. So how many? So you say it can go from this to, it depends on how much the cancer is spread through your body?
Correct. It depends how, and there are other things that we do that as experts. For example, if you have other medical problems, you're on dialysis, it could be a little bit different. Diabetes, depending upon the stage of the cancer. So again, those are determinations you'll make with your radiation oncologist. But it is a good alternative. It is a little bit different than surgery, obviously. We're not cutting anything out here. There's also another form of radiation that we are not doing in this room. It's called brachytherapy. And brachytherapy means up close, treatment, okay? And so what it is we actually can put in catheters or small tubes into the prostate. We put them in between the scrotum and the anus. We put those in, and into those tubes goes a radioactive source. It goes in and out, okay? And then everything comes out, all right? Then as a week later, we do a second session, and that's it, all right? It's a little bit more invasive than doing this, okay? It does require anesthesia, but it can be very effective in cases of early cancer, and sometimes even in more advanced cases of cancer, in addition to doing radiation from the outside. And so there are lots of alternatives, and so when you see a radiation oncologist, which God forbid you don't have to, but if you do, you want to be able to, talk to him openly and frankly, say, listen, this is, what I would like to do. I understand what are the risks and the benefits and things like that. But just be honest. Just be honest. This is what we do together. Not something I do to you. We do it together.
We
okay?
do it as a team.
We do it always as a team.
Right.
And, don't be afraid of it. What you should be afraid of is not getting screened and not getting diagnosed.
Wow.
Because that could kill you.
Wow.
Right? So do you know what the overall 5-year survival rate is if you get treated for prostate cancer is?
No. What is
It's 97%.
Wow.
So yes, you can beat this. This is not like other diseases like COPD or Alzheimer's or these other diseases. Nobody cures them. In this case, you're talking about something that if you get screened and you get detected before cancer has spread, that you could actually walk away and be cured. So this is totally in your control. And so I tell men, listen, what you can control, you like to control, right?
That's right.
So this is in your control. This is something we talk about as a cure, not as something, we're going to make you comfortable, we're going to help you live with your disease. You and I are talking about you take the initiative, you get screened, you get your blood test, maybe the rectal examination, and if you get detected, gets biopsied, we verify cancer, you can be treated, you can beat this, you can win. If you do your part, we obviously have to do our part, God will always do his.
Wow, Doctor, man, that's a lot of good information. And what I liked about it, you said that one of the key things, God will do his part.
Absolutely.
All right.
As I tell my patients, I will answer for what I do, but so will you.
All right, Doc. Once again, thank you so much
you're
for spending that
welcome.
time with me and helping me to be educated with it.
Absolutely.
All right.
Hey, sir, are you here for a routine exam too? He said, yes, I'm sure. Some exam, not sure what kind, but I guess I'll find out. Oh, there's the doctor. All right, have a good one. Hello, Mr. Blackwell. Mr. Blackwell, please come into my office. You're going to have exam today. Did you bring anyone with you? No, just here by myself. Okay. I'll come into my office and let's talk. Mr. Blackwell, today we're going to have an exam. It's a routine prostate exam. This is a screening to check for early signs of prostate cancer, which is something we recommend for men at your age. The exam has 2 parts, a blood test and a physical exam. The blood test is simple, just a finger prick, and it checks for your protein levels called PSA. An elevated PSA can be a sign of prostate issues, but it doesn't necessarily mean cancer. The other part is a digital rectal exam, or DRE. For this, I insert a gloved and lubricated finger into your rectum to feel the surface of your prostate gland. This allows me to check for any lumps or bumps that may be abnormal. The whole thing is pretty quick and shouldn't cause any major discomfort. Afterwards, we'll discuss the results of both tests. If everything looks normal, that's great news. If we find anything unusual, we can talk about it, and the next steps will be that we can include both further testing and monitoring. Now, Mr. Blackwell, do you have any questions? No? Not right this time. Thank you.